Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be bringing together two concepts that might seem irreconcilable: analytics and human resources.
Human resources is more qualitative than quantitative. You can't slap labels and numbers on people for the sake of statistics. Get out of here with your Excel files and pivot tables.
Okay, but let's try to move beyond the stereotype of the HR professional who can't count and who's lost every time someone mentions an equation. Are human resources and analytics really so incompatible? HR analytics, what's the story?
The rise of analytics in companies has followed in the footsteps of IT, and has become quite common in marketing and finance, for example.
Analytics, in HR as elsewhere, is about using data to facilitate decision-making. It's statistical analysis, often performed by a computer, that helps people better understand situations and answer imbricated questions that would otherwise be difficult to manage.
Marketing departments have used analytics for quite some time to analyze consumer needs, for example. But how does it work in HR? Could HR departments rely on analytics to better understand employee needs?
Yes, that's exactly what you want from analytics in HR. The company and its managers want to know how to best use human capital to create value, and they expect the HR department to be able to answer this question.
Right. Well, human capital is what HR is all about. HR analytics could come in quite handy given the complexity of the questions being asked and the data to be analyzed.
Let's take absenteeism or turnover, for example, which both have major impacts on a company's business. HR analytics can help us answer questions like, how many days of missed work were due to the flu? Does absenteeism fluctuate seasonally at my company? How much does absenteeism cost the company? Why is the rate of unwanted resignation higher among Group X? What is the estimated cost of turnover? Which employees might quit next?
Yes, those are some of the areas you think about first when talking HR analytics. But you can take the data even farther. For example, do employees hired with a certain level of qualification perform better? Why does the average level of engagement vary by profession? Which initiatives have the biggest impact on management performance? Is our recognition program beneficial?
As you can see, there are plenty of applications for analytics in HR.
But there are three conditions which must be met for HR analytics to be truly useful. Without them, it loses all relevance.
First, the data has to exist, obviously, but easier said than done, because HR analytics depends on data collected by the company, which is not always available, legible, updated, or properly entered into an easy-to-use HRIS.
Next, the statistical models required for making sense of the data also have to exist. This is rarely a problem, though, since there is such a wealth of statistical models out there.
Last but not least, the HR professionals must have the skills needed to manage the data and the analytical models that interpret it.
I think you'll agree that an MRI is useless or even dangerous if there's not a trained doctor around to interpret the results. Well, same goes for HR analytics. You need a competent HR professional to weigh in.
HR analytics isn't a fully automated process that spits out the solution on a silver platter. While HR departments must pay attention to data, they also need to develop skills in and a real culture of data analysis.
Unfortunately, data alone cannot make us intelligent.
Analytics can't make decisions for us. It's an element that decision makers take into consideration. The result is only part of the big picture. Just like any other KPI, in HR or any other department, we can't let ourselves be hypnotized by the numbers.
Here's a little analogy to make things even clearer. HR analytics is like GPS. You can go without, but you might get lost. That said, even if you use it, you can still get lost, either because it makes a mistake, or you don't use it properly.
To recap, HR analytics is a statistical approach that involves extracting useful information from data to help you make informed HR decisions. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short. Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.